Hey friends, welcome back to another edition of College Sports Corner. I'm Barry. This is our Week 7 review. We had some pretty good games this weekend. We had some crazy stuff happen on and off the field. We'll get to all that. Hey, if you like the show, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Let's get started with some news and headlines. Okay, I think one of the biggest things is LSU coach Ed Ogeron won't return after this season. I guess they talked about it after the game, or either after the Florida game or after the Kentucky loss. I've gotten two different stories there, so I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm an LSU fan. I know, even though I'm Aggie, I still root for LSU. My wife went to school there. Um, I'm one of those people that is about, kind of like old school. I think you should give him at least another year to see if he turns things around. He just won a national championship a couple of years ago, and I know some things happen behind the scenes. They're starting to come out now. They're kind of bad, but it kind of reminds me of the whole Gene Chizik thing back at Auburn a few years ago. He wins a national championship, and then 2 years later they get rid of him, which I don't know. Maybe it's the off the field stuff that's slowly starting to come out is why they got rid of him. I don't know. Anyway, I think he said he's going to retire now. He's going to spend time with his kids. He's been coaching for like 37 years. So anyway, good luck to whatever he does in life. Miami running back Cameron Harris out for the season with an injury. I was trying to find what was exactly wrong with him. I couldn't find anything, but anyway, he's going to be out for the season, and Miami needs all the help they can get, and that's not really helping them, is it? Wisconsin running back Devin Chandler is into the transfer portal. Why? I'm not sure. Maybe playing time. I don't know what's happening there. This one just came out yesterday. Washington State coach Nick Robnich and some assistants were fired for not getting the COVID vaccine. I guess it's a law up there at Washington State. If you work for the state or a state employee, you must have a vaccine. He held his guns, said, I'm not doing it, so they fired him. Hey, however you feel about it, that's the way you feel about it. I'm not going to get on here and bitch about vaccines or politics or anything. We're just talking sports, and that's the decision he made. He stuck with it. So I think they're getting an assistant coach to take over for a while. I'm not sure. I think I saw something about that. Tennessee fined $250,000 by the SEC. I'm sure y'all saw this after that little BS jamboree there at the end of the game, which is a shame because, first of all, that was a great game. And when they showed that replay on TV, it looked like he made it. And from what I understand, that's the replay the fans saw in the stands, was that one we saw from the side. They showed that a couple times, and then when they showed it from the front, you could see the ball was tucked in his belly, so he didn't even come close to the first down line. I don't know if they showed that at the stadium or not. I wasn't there. But anyway, we all saw what happened. Like I said, it's BS jamboree, throwing crap on the field. So SEC thought so too, and they said that's fine, $250,000 fine for that, which kind of sucks because it kind of takes away from the game. Because if you saw it, like I said, that was a really good game all the way down to the end. Tennessee was driving, and I wouldn't be if they would have had a little more time on the clock. Maybe even a minute, they may have scored and won that game because they were driving good until the time ran out on them. So anyway, $250,000 fine for Tennessee. South Carolina quarterback Luke Doty out for the season. He's having foot surgery. Evidently, he got hurt earlier in the year, and it's just been aggravating him all year. So he finally called it quits for the season, and he's going to have foot surgery there. It looks like the AAC conference is going to add a bunch of teams. Remember a while back, there was all that talk about, was it Conference USA and Mountain West and AAC all merging together? It looks like the AAC kind of swept the Mountain West and Conference USA to the side. And it looks like they're going to add a bunch of teams. They're looking at Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, North Texas, Rice, UAB, UTSA. And they're saying they hope to begin play in 2023. So we'll see how that all works out. Trying to make a mega group of 5 conference there. You may have seen this. Basketball TV analyst Dick Vitale announced his cancer has returned. I believe he said it was lymphoma. And he just beat cancer, I think, in August maybe. And now cancer's coming back, and he started treatment this week for it. So prayers to you, Dickie V. I enjoy watching you, and hopefully you can beat this thing and get back onto TV and calling basketball games. Okay, in case you didn't see your polls this week, the AP poll is 1 Georgia, 2 Cincinnati, 3 Oklahoma, 4 Alabama, 5 Ohio State, 6 Michigan, 7 Penn State, 8 Oklahoma State, 9 Michigan State, 10 Oregon, 11 Iowa, 12 Ole Miss, 13 Notre Dame, 14 Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, they've just been hanging around that 14 to like 17 spot and just barely move up in that little area. They haven't broken out of that little area yet. But we still got a lot of football left to be played. Who knows, they might. 15 Kentucky, 16 Wake Forest, 17 A&M, 18 is North Carolina State, 19 Auburn, 20 is Baylor, 21 SMU, 22 San Diego State, 23 Pitt, 24 UTSA broke into the polls for the first time in school history. They just started playing like about 10, 11 years ago, I think, so it's pretty cool for them. And 25 is Purdue. That's your AP. Your coaches poll: 1 Georgia, 2 Oklahoma, 3 Cincinnati, 4 Alabama, 5 Ohio State, 6 Michigan, 7 Michigan State, 8 Penn State, 9 Oklahoma State, 10 Oregon, 11 Iowa, 12 Ole Miss, 13 Notre Dame, 14 Kentucky, 15 Wake Forest, 16 Coastal Carolina, 17 A&M, 18 North Carolina State, 19 SMU, 20 Baylor, 21 San Diego State, 22 Auburn, 23 Pittsburgh, 24 Clemson, and 25 UTSA rounding out that. So that is your coaches poll. Let's get to some review here. Thursday, Memphis 35, Navy 17. Memphis quarterback Seth Hennigan was 8 for 12, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Running backs Austin Weaver Thomas also scored rushing touchdowns. And Austin had a 69-yard TD return off a looks like a kickoff. Navy quarterback Taya Lovato threw a touchdown pass, but he was sacked 3 times. South Alabama 41, Georgia Southern 14. South Alabama quarterback Jake Bentley went 24 for 31, 389 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also rushed for 8 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a pretty good game. Tolbert, Wayne, Siflick all have receiving touchdowns. Georgia Southern quarterback Cam Ramroon and Justin Tomlin both played. Neither threw a touchdown pass, and Ransom was sacked 4 times in that game. All right, Friday, Clemson 17, Syracuse 14. Boy, Clemson's got a horrible-looking offense, don't they? DJ, I can never say some of these guys' names. Ogolole? Sorry for butchering your name, DJ. He went 21 for 34, 181 yards, 1 touchdown. Kobe Pace rushed for a touchdown. Syracuse quarterback Garrett Schrader went 17 for 37, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. He also rushed for a touchdown. And Trevor Pena caught a touchdown pass for Syracuse. Marshall 49, North Texas 21. Herd were up 42-7 at the half. Quarterback Grant Willis went 323 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he rushed for 3 also. Running back Asheen Ali rushed for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their offense was pretty good that night. North Texas, no TD passes thrown. All were rushing. DeAndre Torrey had 179 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And Ayo Ade rushed for 86 yards and 1 touchdown. San Diego State 19, San Jose State 13. This game went in 2 overtimes. Quarterback Lucas Johnson threw 2 touchdown passes, and wide receiver Jarris Matthews caught 4 passes for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns for San Diego State. Spartans quarterback Nick Nash threw for 228, but no touchdowns. Running back Taylor Nevins rushed for 74 yards and a touchdown. The late game on Friday night, Oregon 24, California 17. Quarterback Anthony Brown for Oregon went 20 for 28, 244 yards, 1 touchdown, and he also rushed for a touchdown. Travis Dye rushed for 145 yards and a touchdown. California quarterback Chase Garbers threw for 247 and 2 touchdowns. Jake Tongues had a touchdown catch. All right, Saturday, Texas A&M 35, Missouri 14. Quarterback Zach Calzada, 148 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Isaiah Spiller, 168 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Devin Achane, 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. And wide receiver Anaya Smith, 3 catches, 34 yards, 2 touchdowns. This A&M defense looks a hell of a lot better than it did, especially against Colorado. And they just keep improving. Being an Aggie fan, it's a shame they couldn't have won those 2 games because who knows where they'd be now. But hey, they're getting better, so that's cool. Missouri quarterback Connor Bazelak, 230 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. Running backs Brody and Lovett rushed for a combined 85 yards and a touchdown each. Missouri's got a lot of work to do. Michigan State 20, Indiana 15. This game really shocked the heck out of me because the way Michigan State's been playing these last few games, and I don't know what happened here. I don't know if Indiana, all of a sudden turn and switch and say, hey, we've been pretty good these last couple of years, and let's start playing like it or something. I don't know, but it was just a weird game. Spartans were losing until the third quarter. Quarterback Peyton Thorne was 14 for 26, 126 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Indiana quarterback Jake Tuttle was 28 for 52, 188 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Spartans stay undefeated by luck, if you ask me. They probably should have lost that game, but somehow they pulled it out. Neither offense really played worth a damn in that game, but as you can tell by the stats and the scores. Minnesota 30, Nebraska 23. Minnesota quarterback Tanner Morgan was 20 for 24, 204 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Quarterback Cale Kramer came in and threw a touchdown pass. Wide receiver Autumn Bell has 103 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. And running back Bryce Williams had 17 carries, 127 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown. Nebraska, Adrian Martinez was 18 for 33, 241 yards and 1 touchdown. Running back Ramir Johnson rushed for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nebraska, we say it every week, they are right there. But something always screws it up. Penalties, mistakes, shoot themselves in the foot, seems like. I know the kicking game's been bad in some games, but yeah, they're in a world of hurt right now. Northwestern 21, Rutgers 7. Wildcat quarterback Ryan Helinski was 18 for 33, 267 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Andrew Clare, 68 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Malik Washington, 84 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Rutgers quarterback Noah Verdal, 152 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Wide receiver Bo Melton had 8 catches for 101 yards and 1 touchdown. Auburn 38, Arkansas 23. Bo Nix went 21 for 26, 292 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also rushed for 42 yards and a touchdown. Tom Bigsby rushed for 68 yards and a touchdown. Wide receivers Robertson and Johnson each had a touchdown catch. Arkansas quarterback KJ Jefferson, 21 for 35, 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Trayton Burke was 9 catches for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. I heard a lot about this game all over social media. The officiating was bad. There's a lot of bad calls in that game. I didn't see that game. I was watching another one. So I can't really weigh in on that. I just see what I see on social media, but a lot of people are pissed off about the officiating in that game. And overall, SEC officiating, I mean, you see it every week. If you watch SEC games, you'll see bad calls, and you get online and people are bitching about the calls. And this has really been a trend for the SEC for the last few years. And it's crazy because of media days in the summer, every year they get the hit of officiating up there talking about stuff. And like they got the greatest officiating system in the world, but I don't know. Them and the Big Ten those officials seem to make a lot of mistakes, especially this year. So I don't know if that's being addressed or what, but crazy things happen in this game. This was a shocker to me. LSU 49, Florida 42. This was really unexpected. The way LSU lost to Kentucky. And I thought LSU would give them a game. I didn't think they would win. But it's like Florida, the running game just didn't work. Even when they didn't even go to it that much, and when they did go to it, it's like it just didn't work. So it's crazy. Max Johnson was 14 for 24, 133 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. This guy here, running back Tyron Davis Price, set a record for the school: 36 rushes, 287 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That was a great performance by him. Wide receiver Jeray Jenkins, 4 catches for 50 yards and 3 touchdowns. LSU's got a couple of players out, Butte and Stingley, but man, they played like they didn't even need them. That was crazy. Florida, all 3 quarterbacks played. Anthony Richardson was 10 for 10, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He also rushed for 37 yards and a touchdown. Emory Jones was 12 for 19, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. 4 interceptions were thrown between the 2 quarterbacks. Justin Shorter had 6 catches for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was a pretty entertaining game. If you didn't see it, it was back and forth the whole game. It was almost like one of those games where whoever had the ball last was going to win. But crazy, very unexpected. At least I thought it was. This one here kind of surprised me too. Oklahoma State 32, Texas 24. Cowboys quarterback Spencer Sanders, 178 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also rushed for 20 yards and a TD. Kicker Tanner Brown was 4 for 4 on field goals for Oklahoma State. Texas quarterback Casey Thompson went 15 for 27, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, but he threw 2 picks. Running back Bijan Robinson rushed for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also caught a touchdown pass. The way Texas has been playing, and forget about last week. They dominated that game in the first half. In the second half, they kind of went to sleep, and then Oklahoma won in the last seconds. But ever since that Arkansas loss, Texas has been playing really well. And they lost last week, and so I was not expecting them to lose, especially at home. I don't know. Oklahoma State just kind of it started off slow for Oklahoma State. Texas kind of jumped out to a lead, but then Oklahoma State fought their way. They just wouldn't go away, and they just got back in it and won. So Texas has 3 losses now. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can win the rest of the way. Cincinnati stays undefeated. 56, Central Florida 21. Quarterback Desmond Ridder, 140 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Running back Jerome Ford rushed for 189 and 4 touchdowns. Good day for him. Ninth quarterback Mike Keene threw for 141 yards, 1 touchdown, but he had 2 interceptions. Running backs Browser and Anthony Richards each rushed for a touchdown. Gus Malzahn, I didn't see the game, but Gus Malzahn evidently left in a hurry. I don't even know if he shook hands with Luke Fickell or not, but they said he bolted out. He had some kind of family emergency. I think it turns out his daughter had a baby. That was the emergency. He rushed over there to the hospital, wherever she was, and he's got a little grandchild now. So congratulations to you, Coach Malzahn. Now you can spoil the hell out of them. UConn 21, Yale 15. Quarterback Steven Kajewski for UConn, 21 for 32, 199 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for 24 yards and a touchdown. Wide receivers Marlon and Cercius each had a touchdown catch. Yale quarterback Nolan Grooms was 8 for 31, 132 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Zane Dudek rushed for a touchdown. Chase Nade caught a touchdown pass. UConn, that's their second win, I believe. So I don't know if you could call it turning it around, but at least they're getting some wins. Buffalo 27, Ohio 26. Buffalo quarterback Kyle Van Treese was 22 for 30, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Dylan McDuffie rushed for 143 yards and 1 touchdown. Tyler Stevens and Trevor Borland each had touchdown catches. Ohio quarterback Armani Rogers passed for 75 yards and 0 touchdowns. Not a very good day for the passing. But he did rush for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. So what he couldn't do in the air, he did on the ground. They only lost by 1 point. So if he would have thrown a touchdown pass or got closer to a field goal, they could have won that game. Get this though. Bobcats led 21-0 in the first. and still led by 11 points at halftime. And then Buffalo just came back in it, so it's probably why Ohio is 1-6. Sorry, Bobcat fans. Tulsa 32, South Florida 31. Tulsa quarterback Davis Brim threw for 266 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Running back Shamari Brooks rushed for 145 and 1 touchdown. Running back Deneric Prince rushed for 110 yards and 1 touchdown. Wide receivers Johnson and Crawford Jr. each had a touchdown catch. South Florida quarterback Timmy McClain threw for 148 yards, no touchdowns. He rushed for 24 yards and a touchdown, though. And Brian Batty had 2 kick returns for 127 yards and 1 touchdown. Virginia 48, Duke 0. Virginia quarterback Brendan Armstrong passed for 364 yards in this game. He had 2 touchdowns. He rushed for 34 yards and another touchdown. So he had a pretty good game. Wide receiver Dontavion Wicks, I think that's how you say his name, had 7 catches for 125 yards and a touchdown. Duke committed 4 turnovers in this game, and Virginia made them pay for it. Ball State 38, Eastern Michigan 31. Ball State quarterback Drew Plitt threw for 207 yards and 1 touchdown. Running back Carson Steele rushed for 138 yards and a touchdown of his own. Eastern Michigan quarterback Ben Bryant threw for 331 yards, 1 touchdown, and he did have 2 interceptions. Wide receiver Dylan Drummond had 7 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. Both these teams are 4-3 now. Miami of Ohio 34, Akron 21. Redhawks quarterback A.J. Meyer went 19 for 27, 229 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wide receivers Jack Sorensen had 5 catches for 113 yards and a touchdown, and Andrew Hammer had 2 touchdown catches. Akron quarterback Zach Gibson threw for 291 and 3 touchdowns. Not too bad. Wide receivers Williams and Mathis each had a touchdown catch. Each team had 1 turnover. Pretty good performance there for Akron's quarterback Zach Gibson, but they still lost by looks like 13 points. So still good performance though. This game was close all the way. Troy 31 and Texas State 28. Troy quarterback Gunnar Watson was 22 for 29, 182 yards and 1 touchdown. Running back Kamani Vidal had 25 rushes, 162 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensive back Keyshawn Swanson had a pick 6 in this game. Texas State quarterback Brandy McBride, 22 for 32, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he did throw 3 interceptions. Running back Sturgis, wide receivers Banks and Graham Jr. each had a touchdown. Bobcats committed 4 turnovers in this game. North Carolina 45, Miami 42. Carolina quarterback Sam Howell went 17 for 26, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He also rushed for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. O-line needs work. He was sacked 4 times in this game. He was rushed a lot of times in this game. You know, it could be the O-line is the reason why that they're not as good as we thought they were going to be. Having trouble protecting Sam Howell, but who knows? Could be some other issues. Running back Ty Chandler rushed for 104 yards on 18 carries and 2 touchdowns. Hurricanes quarterback Tyler Van Dyke was 20 for 45, 264 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. He was sacked 3 times in this game. Running back Jalen Knighton rushed for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also had a touchdown catch. Running back Jafari Harvey had a pick 6 also. Pittsburgh now 5-1, 28. Vautech 7. Vautech is now 3-3. Pitt quarterback Kenny Pickett threw for 203 and 2 touchdowns. He rushed for 38 yards and a touchdown. I still like that guy to get invited to New York at the end of the year for the Heisman. I mean, every week, even when he's having kind of an off day, it's still a good day. His numbers are still good. So, and they got Clemson coming up Saturday, so that might be a pretty interesting game. Pitt running back Davis had a touchdown. Wide receivers Wayne and Bartholomew each had a touchdown catch. Vautech, lone TD came from Braxton Burmeister pass to Tavion Robinson. Offense could never get anything going. They only had 90 rushing yards and 134 passing yards in that whole game. Remember Va-Tech, man? They started off. They beat North Carolina because we all thought North Carolina was going to make a run at the ACC title, and then they kind of faltered off a little bit. And I know Fuente. A lot of people are talking. He's on the hot seat now. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. And speaking of Va-Tech, happy birthday to Frank Beamer. His birthday was today or yesterday. Anyway, I always admired him. I always thought he was a good coach. So happy birthday, Coach Beamer. Colorado 34, Arizona, Arizona. Poor guys. These two here. I'm sorry if you're a Buffaloes fan or a Wildcats fan, but these are just two of the worst teams in the Pac-12. I mean, they really are. Colorado got the slow start, 6-0 at halftime. Finally scored 21 points in the third quarter somehow. Quarterback Brandon Lewis was 12 for 19, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Brendan Rice, 3 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown. Arizona, both quarterbacks played. Each had under 100 yards passing. Wildcats rushed for 134 yards between 9 players. So, they're talking about the coach. He's already on the hot seat. This is his first year. I mean, I think. Damn. Purdue 24, Iowa 7. Before this game, I said there's going to be some games coming up where we're going to find out if people are contenders or pretenders. Now, Purdue, they're a good team. I mean, they're not elite Big Ten, but they're a good team. They play good football. And I don't know if Iowa is not as good as we thought they were. I mean, they beat Penn State. Or did they just take Purdue lightly? Thought they could go out there and roll their helmets out on the field and win the game. But anyway, they lost at home. Boilermaker quarterback, Aidan O'Connell, 30 for 40, 375 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown. Wide receiver David Bell had 11 catches for 240 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Sheffield also had a touchdown catch. Iowa running back Ivor Kelly Martin rushed for their only touchdown in this game. Quarterback Spencer Petras threw 4 picks and was sacked 4 times. So, Northern Illinois 34, Bowling Green 26. Unimpressive stats in this game. How this game was 34-26 is beyond me. I was looking at the stats and there was nothing that just like, wow. It was just like, okay. So how they scored 34 and how they scored 26 points on those stats that I looked at, I don't know. It's weird. Central Michigan 26, Toledo 23. Central Michigan quarterback Daniel Richardson was 20 for 34, 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. Running back Lou Nichols rushed for 134 yards and also caught a touchdown pass. K. Marshall Meter was 4 for 4 on field goals and 2 for 2 on extra points. Toledo quarterback DeQuan Finn threw for 208 yards and rushed for 2 touchdowns, but he was sacked 7 times in this game. So I'm sure he was in the ice bath all day Sunday. Western Michigan 64, Kent State 31. It was 23-17 at the half, and then the Broncos just exploded with 27 points in the third quarter. Broncos quarterback Caleb Elby was 15 for 22, 307 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he rushed for a touchdown. Running back Sean Taylor, 169 yards, 1 touchdown. Wide receiver Jalen Hall had 5 catches for 144 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Sky Moore, 8 catches for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. As you can tell by the 64 points, their offense was on fire. Kent State quarterback Dustin Crum, 15 for 26, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns. He rushed for a touchdown, but he was sacked 5 times. Running back Bradford rushed for a touchdown. Wide receivers Cephas and Abram each caught a touchdown catch for Kent State. This one was a big game here. This is going to be one of those we're going to find out. Pretender or contender. Georgia 30, Kentucky 13. Now, Kentucky's a good team, so I would say they're probably on the contending side. They just ran into Georgia, who's probably the best team in the nation right now, even better than Alabama. So I still think Kentucky is a contender. With a little luck, they can get to a good New Year's Day bowl. I mean, So I wouldn't count them out just yet. Georgia quarterback Stenton Bennett, 14 for 20, 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Brock Bowers, 5 catches, 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defense shut down the Wildcats running game. They held the Wildcats to only 51 rushing yards. And I've been high on Kentucky's running back, Chris Rodriguez, the whole year, but they just kind of shut him down. Quarterback Will Levis, 32 for 42, 192 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. Wide receivers Robinson and Rigg had touchdown catches. Baylor moves to 6-1. They beat BYU 38-24. I really thought BYU might have a chance to win this game, and they came close. But Baylor's defense just made the right plays at the right time and just kind of held them in check. Quarterback Jerry Bohannon, 18 for 28, 231 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Running back Abram Smith ran for 188 yards on 27 carries and had 3 touchdowns. BYU quarterback Jaron Hall threw for 342, 1 touchdown. He also rushed for a touchdown, but Baylor's defense sacked him 5 times. Wide receiver Poka Nakwa, I think that's how you say it, 5 passes caught for 168 yards and 1 touchdown. Fresno State 17, Wyoming nothing. Bulldog quarterback Jake Hayner threw for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tight end Rodriguez and wide receiver Cropper each had a touchdown catch. Quarterback Sean Chambers for Wyoming did throw for 111 yards and rushed for 51 yards, but he also threw 3 picks and was sacked 3 times. And the Cowboys ended up having 4 turnovers in that game. UAB 34, Southern Miss 0. UAB quarterback Dylan Hopkins threw a touchdown pass and rushed for a touchdown pass. Running back D-Ray McBride rushed for 137 yards and a touchdown. And the kicker Matt Quinn was 2 for 2 on field goals and 4 for 4 on extra points. Eagles were just shut down by UAB's defense. They had 32 passing yards and 84 rushing yards in this game. And the wide receivers only had 33 receiving yards. So the UAB defense just jumped all over them from the start. Get this. Southern Miss had 9 drives of 10 yards or less in this game. And when I say less, I mean some of those were like 1 yard, 3 yard. Southern Miss got a lot of work to do over there. Western Kentucky 43, Old Dominion 20. This game was 30-3 at the half. Western Kentucky quarterback Bailey Zappe, I think that's how you say his name, 17 for 54, 397 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Wide receiver Jeff Stearns, 13 catches for 221 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Dakota Thomas, 2 catches, 26 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Kicker Braden Norvinson kicks 7 points. He added 7 points to that score with all his kicks. Old Dominion quarterback Hayden Wolf, 327 passing yards, but no touchdowns. 2 interceptions, and he was sacked 5 times. Blake Wharton rushed for 104 yards and a touchdown. Elijah Dava rushed for a touchdown. Wide receivers Jennings and Kuntz each had over 100 yards receiving, but no touchdowns. Texas Tech 41, Kansas 14. Kansas laid a goose egg all the way until the 4th quarter when they finally scored their points. Red Raider quarterback Harry Colombi threw a touchdown pass and rushed for a touchdown. Donovan Smith, Miles Price, Eric Izukama each had touchdowns. Quarterback Miles Kendrick for Kansas threw touchdown passes to Luke Grimm and Lawrence Arnold, and that was it. But, Jayhawks had decent drives. They're moving it down the field, but the Tech defense would step up and just stop them in their tracks. So they couldn't capitalize on any of those good drives. They had some good ones. I think I saw some for 30 yards and even up to 50 yards at one point. But evidently when they did that, Texas Tech said, we've had enough of this, and would stop them. So South Carolina 21, Vanderbilt 20. South Carolina wins by the hair on their chinny chin. South Carolina only scored in the 1st and 4th quarter. That was it. Vandy scored in all 4 quarters. Luke Doty, who we talked about, he's going to be out the rest of the season for foot surgery. 242 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and he threw 2 interceptions. Backup quarterback Zeb Nolan threw for 75 yards and a touchdown. Tight end Jaheim Bell had 136 receiving yards and a touchdown. Vandy quarterback Mike Wright, 206 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked twice. Will Shepard had 3 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown. And South Carolina goes to College Station this Saturday without their starting quarterback. So we'll see how that works out for them. UTSA breaks into the polls for the first time in school history. They are 7-0. They beat Rice 45-0. Quarterback Frank Harris went 12 for 19, 125 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he rushed for 47 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Josh Josephus had 4 catches for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensive backs Corey Mayfield and Trevor Morrison each had a pick 6. UTSA they're a good team. I mean, I know they're beating some teams that, kind of lower tier, I guess you would say. But hey, they did go to Illinois and beat Illinois up there. So I know Illinois is not that good, but hey, it's a Big Ten team and they beat them. So it's good for them. Rice Owls held to 36 yards passing and 101 rushing yards. Their longest drive in this game, Rice's longest drive, was 18 yards. So, Utah State 28, UNLV 24. Hey, Rebels are 0-6. They came close. They came within 4 points of getting their first win, but Utah State said no. Quarterback Logan Bonner, 21 for 32, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Wide receiver Devin Tompkins, 12 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Savion Scarver had a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. UNLV quarterback Cameron Friel, 11 for 21, 107 yards, no touchdowns, and he threw an interception. Running back Charles Williams had a terrific day, 27 yards, 27 carries, 221 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So he was the workhorse on the offense that day. Alabama 49, Mississippi State 9. Bryce Young was 20 for 28, 348 yards and 4 touchdowns. Wide receiver John Mechie, 7 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown. Defensive back Jordan Battle had a 40-yard pick 6. Williams, Hayden, Robertson Jr. each had a touchdown catch. Mississippi State quarterback Will Rogers, he threw for 300 yards. No touchdowns, though. Threw 3 picks, and he was sacked 7 times. Rushing game was pretty much non-existent. All receivers, get this, all receivers had 64 receiving yards or less. Bama's defense, they were just all over them. Mississippi State had some decent drives in this game, but they couldn't really capitalize on anything other than 3 field goals. So another one of those games where they have decent drives and the other team says, nah, it's enough of this crap, and puts an end to that. Colorado State 36, New Mexico 7. This was a 6-point game at halftime. Quarterback Todd Centillo for Colorado State, 289 passing yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 4 times. Running back David Bailey, 58 rushing yards for 2 touchdowns. And kicker Caden Camper was responsible for half the points. He kicked 18 points in this game. So give him the game ball. New Mexico's only TD was a good one, 63-yard punt return. So Rams defense, they held the Lobos to 16 passing yards, 107 rushing yards, and forced 3 turnovers. Louisiana Monroe 31, Liberty 28. Liberty was up 14-0 at halftime, and then Louisiana Monroe exploded with 28 in the third quarter. I guess their offense said, enough of this. Quarterback Chandler Rogers, 225 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Liberty did sack him 6 times. Running backs Henry and Elise each had rushing touchdowns. Liberty quarterback Mark Willis, 135 passing yards, 1 touchdown. He threw 3 interceptions. He was sacked 4 times also. He did rush for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. So All was not lost in that game. NC State moves to 5-1. They beat Boston College 33-7. Boston College is 4-2 now. Wolfpack quarterback Devin Leary, 16 for 24, 251 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Thrain Thomas, 4 catches for 122 yards and 1 touchdown. Tight end Dylan Parham and wide receiver Devin Carter also had touchdown catches. Boston College quarterback Dennis Grossall, 194 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times. Trey Berry also caught a touchdown pass. Caught the touchdown pass. The lone touchdown pass. Iowa State 33, Kansas State 20. Kansas State scored in the first and fourth quarters, and that was it. It's a trend we've seen this year in a lot of teams. They just score in 1 or 2 quarters, and that's it. It's good enough. Cyclones quarterback Brock Purdy, 22 for 25, 208 yards and 1 touchdown. Breece Hall rushed for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good day for him. Here's another one. Kicker Andrew Nevis kicked 14 points in this game. So if you had he not kicked those 14 points, wow, Kansas State would have won. It was the weekend for the kicker, wasn't it? Quarterback Skylar Thompson for K-State, 15 for 22, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also rushed for a TD. Wide receiver Malik Knowles and Phillip Brooks also had TD catches for Kansas State. Oklahoma 52, TCU 31. Sooners quarterback Caleb Williams, 18 for 23, 295 yards and 4 touchdowns. Running back Kennedy Brooks, 20 carries, 153 yards and 1 touchdown. Wide receiver Jaden Hayward, 6 catches for 56 yards and 3 touchdowns. TCU quarterback Max Duggan, 20 for 30, 346 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. And they still lost this game. That kind of says something about OU's offense in this one. Wide receiver Quentin Johnson had 7 catches for 185 yards and 3 touchdowns. We've been saying Oklahoma's been flirting with losing this whole year. Almost happened last week. But they really didn't look like they had any trouble with TCU in this one. And Max Duggan is throwing for 346 yards and 4 touchdowns. You know the Sooner defense really stepped up in this one. Washington State 34, Stanford 31. Cougar quarterback Jaden Delore, 17 for 30, 289 yards and 3 touchdowns. Max Borgi rushed for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receivers Jackson Jr., Harris, and Stribling, all with touchdown catches for Washington State. Stanford quarterback Tanner McKee, 273 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for a touchdown. Running back Austin Jones and tight end Benjamin Yarsek each caught touchdown passes. Here we go again. Kicker Joshua Carty kicked 11 points for Stanford. Put 11 points on the board for him. UTEP 19, La Tech 3. UTEP's having a good year. Running back Deion Hankins rushed for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Gavin Hardison threw for 283 yards. La Tech quarterback Austin Kendall threw for 164 yards, 3 interceptions, and he was sacked 4 times. This year, I know there's been a lot of talk about expanding the playoffs and stuff. And then some people, even Mac Brown, said, well, why don't Group of 5 just have their own playoff and their own champion? There's a lot of Group of 5 teams this year that are damn good. If they did have their own playoff this year and own championship, that would be a hell of a playoff bracket, wouldn't it? There's a lot of good teams in the Group of 5s this year. Now, maybe why they're hesitant on expanding the playoff, because they know these Group of 5s might come in and kick some of these bigger guys' asses. And these bigger guys are scared of that. What we talked about earlier, because of the last-minute BS jamboree at the end. Ole Miss 31, Tennessee 26. Like I said, that was a great game. It's just been kind of overshadowed by all that crap at the end. Matt Corral, 22 for 38, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. He also rushed for 195 yards. He was sacked 5 times in this game by Tennessee. Snoop Conner rushed for 2 touchdowns. Wide receivers Jackson and Drummond each had a touchdown catch. Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker, 17 for 26, 233 passing yards, 1 touchdown. And he also rushed for 108 yards and 1 touchdown. He was sacked 5 times. Running back Jabari Small rushed for a touchdown. Cedric Tillman caught a touchdown pass for Tennessee. And I think I saw somewhere Hendon Hooker might be injured. He might not be playing this week. I believe they got Alabama. I think that's what I saw. Don't take it to the bank, but you know. Wisconsin 20, Army 14. Wisconsin's up to 3-3 now. Army's at 4-2. Wisconsin quarterback Graham Mertz passed for 112 yards. No passing touchdowns, but he did rush for 2 touchdowns. Braylon Allen rushed for 108 yards on 16 carries, and he had a touchdown. Army, Tyler Tyler and A.J. Howard each had a rushing touchdown for Army, and that was their only points in that game. Which I kind of expected Army to win this game. I'm going to be honest with you, I really did. Army just looks better than Wisconsin has this year, and I really expected them to win, but oh well. I mean, it doesn't bother me they didn't win. I mean, I have no stake in Army except glad what they do serving our country. But UCLA 24, Washington 17. This game was tied at 17 in the third. UCLA quarterback Thompson Robinson 21 for 26, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he also rushed for 87 yards and a touchdown. Cam Brown and Greg Dulcich each caught a touchdown pass. Washington quarterback Dylan Morris, 20 for 30, 184 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. He also rushed for a touchdown. Rome Odoze caught a touchdown pass. And I think UCLA has Oregon this week. It's Saturday in the Rose Bowl. That should be a pretty good game. Air Force 24, Boise State 17. Air Force quarterback Hoizio Daniels, I think that's how you say it, Hanzio Daniels, threw for 59, rushed for 83, and had a touchdown. Brad Roberts rushed for 138 on 28 carries, and he rushed for 2 touchdowns. Ball State quarterback Hank Brockmeyer, 23 for 36, 259 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Andrew Van Buren rushed for 58 yards and a touchdown. Stephen Cobbs had 6 catches for 183 yards and a touchdown. This one here was kind of a battle for the Pac-12 South. Utah 35, Arizona State 21. Even though he lost in all the games coming up, I still think Arizona State's going to be the Pac-12 South representative in that championship game. Could be wrong. We all seen what happens in college football, but I thought the way they played this whole year that they would probably represent the South Division. We'll see what happens, but I'm still betting on them. Utah quarterback Cameron Rising threw for 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He also rushed for 59 yards and a touchdown. Tight end Brant Coith caught 3 passes for 36 yards and 2 touchdowns. Arizona State quarterback Jaden Daniels threw for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for 32 yards and had a touchdown. Curtis Hayden caught 4 passes for 74 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Conyers caught 3 passes for 18 yards and a touchdown. With this win, the Utes moved into first place in the South, but like I said, I'm still thinking the Sun Devils might do it. Nevada 34, Hawaii 17. Nevada quarterback Carson Strong, 34 for 54, 395 yards, 2 touchdowns. Toa Tava rushed for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Romeo Dobbs and Tony Horton each caught touchdown passes in this one. Hawaii quarterback Brandon Shager, 22 for 39, 205 yards, 0 touchdowns, but he did give it to them 4 times with 4 interceptions. Dede Hunter rushed for 174 yards on 8 carries for 2 touchdowns. That's it for the review, but we do have a game Wednesday, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty good one. Number 14, Coastal Carolina, 6-0 versus Appalachian State, 4-2. That one's going to be at 7:30 Eastern, ESPN2, Wednesday night. Both teams got good quarterbacks. Carolina is averaging 291 passing yards a game, and App State is averaging 259 passing yards a game. App State, they got manhandled by Louisiana last week. I really expected them to play better than they did, but Raging Cajuns just kind of came out and romped all over them. Anyway, Coastal Carolina is averaging 552 total yards a game, and Appalachian State 436 total yards a game. All right, so that's it. We'll be back on Thursday to preview Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday's games. Do the usual news and headlines. Almost got the basketball preview done. A lot of teams, so it's a lot of work. But we'll have that probably in the next week or so. Anyway, hey, like I said, if you like what you see or you just like to listen to it while you're working, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. We're also on Twitter. Not too active on the tweets. If I see something, I'll tweet it. I'll retweet a lot of stuff on there. So anyway, hey, y'all have a great day. Work tomorrow. Be safe. And we will see you back on Thursday. All right.